Arsenic to heavy metals linked to kidney arsenic to heavy metals linked to kidney damage and heart complications. Some rice brands are quietly putting your health at risk. Today, we expose 9 rice brands you should avoid and the 2 actually worth your trust. Coming in at number 9, we have Sunwhite long grain. For decades, Sun Rice has been the trusted name in Australian kitchens. The bright yellow packaging with that iconic sun logo promised quality, local farming, and wholesome family meals. Generations of Australians grew up with sunrice on the dinner table. Your mum probably served it every Sunday. Your nan probably swore by it for her famous rice pudding. But here is where the betrayal begins. Independent laboratory testing has revealed troubling levels of inorganic arsenic in certain rice products grown in regions with legacy contamination. Arsenic, the same element that has been used as a poison throughout human history, and it can be sitting in your rice, absorbed from contaminated soil and groundwater during cultivation. Now, you might think a little arsenic cannot hurt. But for seniors, especially those managing kidney disease, high blood pressure, or heart conditions, even low-level chronic exposure becomes a serious problem. Arsenic accumulates in the body over time. It does not just pass through, it builds up, and the kidneys, already working harder as we age, struggle to filter it out. A Consumer Reports investigation found that a single serving of some rice products contained more arsenic than the United States EPA allows in a liter of drinking water. Think about that. You would never drink water that exceeded federal safety limits. Yet here we are, spooning rice onto our plates without knowing what contamination levels might be present. The texture looks normal. The smell seems fine. The grains cook up fluffy and white. But beneath that wholesome appearance, invisible contamination can lurk. And the label tells you nothing about arsenic levels, nothing about heavy metal testing, nothing about how the soil was treated. Sunrice promotes itself as proudly Australian. But have they addressed the contamination concerns that affect rice globally? The silence from major brands speaks louder than any advertisement. For seniors counting on this rice as a safe, affordable staple, the lack of transparency cuts deep. You trusted them, and they may have let heavy metals slip into your meals without a word of warning. At number 8, we have Coles brand medium grain rice. Budget-friendly, convenient. Sitting right there on the supermarket shelf with a price that makes pensioners breathe easier. Coles brand rice promises the same quality as name brands at a fraction of the cost. For seniors on fixed incomes, for anyone stretching their grocery budget, it seems like a smart choice. Same rice, less money. What could go wrong? Plenty. Store brand rice is typically sourced from multiple suppliers, often the cheapest available. The retailer does not grow its own rice. It does not control the farming practices. It does not monitor the soil conditions where the rice is cultivated. What you get in that bag can be a mystery blend from wherever they found the lowest price that quarter. Testing of store-brand rice products has shown higher variability in arsenic levels compared to some premium brands. Some batches test relatively clean, others spike significantly higher. You have no way of knowing what you are getting. The packaging looks identical either way. For seniors managing chronic health conditions, this variability is dangerous. You might eat store-brand rice for months with no problem, then suddenly get a batch grown in heavily contaminated soil. Your body absorbs the arsenic. Your kidneys strain to process it. Your cardiovascular system takes the hit. And you never know it happened because the rice looked and tasted exactly the same. The savings at checkout might become medical bills down the road. The convenience of one-stop shopping might come with a side of heavy metal contamination. The Coles label shows wholesome imagery, golden fields, blue skies, marketing designed to make you feel good about your purchase. But behind that marketing, there is often no transparency about sourcing, no disclosure about arsenic testing, no accountability for contamination. You are trusting the supermarket with your health, and the supermarket is trusting whoever offers them the cheapest rice. Does it not feel like grocery stores care more about packaging than what is inside the food? Now at number 7, we have Woolworths Essentials Long Grain Rice. The Woolworths Essentials range targets budget-conscious shoppers. The plain white packaging screams value. For seniors watching every dollar, it seems like the sensible choice. Basic rice for basic needs. Nothing fancy, nothing expensive. But basic does not mean safe. Like other supermarket brands, Woolworths Essentials sources from various suppliers based on price and availability. The rice in your bag this month might come from a completely different farm than the rice you bought 6 months ago. Different soil, different contamination levels, different risks. A 2020 study published in the journal Environmental Health found that people who ate rice daily had significantly higher arsenic levels in their urine than those who did not. The body tries to flush it out, but the kidneys can only do so much. And as we age, kidney function naturally declines. What a younger person might filter efficiently, a senior's body struggles to process. The health consequences are not immediate. There is no sudden illness, no dramatic symptom. Instead, there is gradual damage to kidneys, increased strain on the cardiovascular system, elevated risk of certain conditions. The harm is slow and silent, just like the contamination itself. For seniors on blood pressure medication, chronic arsenic exposure can interfere with cardiovascular function. For those managing diabetes, it can worsen insulin resistance. For anyone with compromised kidney function, it adds to the toxic burden those organs must process. The grains pour out of the bag looking pristine. They smell faintly sweet when cooking. The texture comes out acceptable. Nothing seems wrong, but what you cannot see, cannot smell, cannot taste is what might be slowly accumulating in your body. If this helps you stay safer at the store, hit subscribe. It is free, and it means you will never miss these exposés. Coming in at number 6, we have Riviana basmati rice. Riviana is a name you see across Australian supermarket shelves. Their basmati rice promises aromatic flavor, fluffy texture, and the authentic taste of traditional Indian cooking. For seniors who love a good curry night or want to diversify their meals, Riviana basmati seems like a quality choice. But quality claims and quality testing are two different things. Basmati rice is typically grown in regions of India and Pakistan, where agricultural practices vary widely. Some farms use sustainable methods with clean soil. Others operate in areas affected by industrial pollution, contaminated groundwater, or legacy pesticide use. When you buy Riviana basmati, you are trusting that their sourcing prioritizes safety over savings. Independent testing of various basmati brands has found measurable levels of heavy metals including arsenic and lead. For seniors, lead exposure is particularly concerning. It has been linked to cognitive decline, memory issues, and accelerated aging of the brain. These are not risks any senior should accept with their dinner. The aromatic smell that wafts from the pot might mask what you cannot detect. The long, slender grains that separate beautifully on the plate tell you nothing about what they absorbed from the soil. The delicate flavor that enhances your curry reveals nothing about heavy metal content. Food standards. Australia. New Zealand sets maximum levels for contaminants in food, but testing is not conducted on every batch of imported rice. Some contaminated products slip through, some batches exceed recommended limits, and by the time anyone knows, you have already eaten it. What makes this betrayal particularly painful is the premium price. Basmati costs more than regular white rice. You pay extra expecting quality. You deserve to know exactly what you are getting for that money. But the packaging never tells you. Stick around. The fix is coming, and it could change how you protect yourself every time you cook. At number 5, we have Tilda Pure Basmati Rice. Tilda positions itself as the world's favorite basmati. The elegant packaging suggests refinement. The marketing emphasizes heritage, tradition, and purity. For seniors who appreciate quality ingredients, Tilda seems like the safe choice for special occasions. But heritage does not equal heavy metal testing. Tilda sources its rice from the Punjab region spanning India and Pakistan. While this area is famous for producing exceptional basmati, it is also an area where agricultural practices have evolved over decades of intensive farming. Pesticide residues, industrial runoff, and naturally occurring arsenic in groundwater all affect what ends up in the rice. A 2019 study by researchers at Queen's University Belfast tested numerous rice products sold in the United Kingdom and found significant variation in arsenic levels across brands. Some basmati products tested considerably higher than others. The study highlighted that consumers have no way of knowing which batch might contain elevated contamination. For Australian seniors, the implications are clear. That bag of Tilda sitting in your pantry could be perfectly fine, or it could contain arsenic levels that, consumed regularly over months and years, contribute to serious health problems. The packaging will not tell you. The company's marketing certainly will not mention it. The purity promised in the brand name rings hollow when independent testing reveals potential contamination. The heritage and tradition mean nothing if heavy metals are accumulating in your organs with every meal. Seniors managing multiple medications face additional risks. Arsenic can interfere with how certain drugs are metabolized. It can compound the strain on kidneys already working to process blood pressure pills, diabetes medication, and heart drugs. Every contaminated serving adds to the burden your body must bear. The rice cooks beautifully. The aroma fills your kitchen. The taste transports you to memories of wonderful meals, but beneath that sensory pleasure, invisible dangers may lurk. And Tilda has not seen fit to reassure you otherwise. Number 4 brings us to Uncle Ben's, now called Ben's Original. The bright orange packaging has sat on kitchen shelves across Australia for generations. That familiar face promised convenience, quality, and wholesome family meals. Your mother probably served it. Your grandmother probably trusted it completely. It feels like an old friend in the pantry. But here is where generations of trust meet modern testing. Independent laboratory testing has revealed troubling levels of inorganic arsenic in certain Uncle Ben's rice products sold internationally. The rice absorbs arsenic from contaminated soil and groundwater during cultivation. And unlike organic pollutants that break down over time, arsenic persists. It accumulates. It does not simply disappear from your body. A 2012 Consumer Reports investigation in the United States found that a single serving of some rice products contained more arsenic than regulatory agencies allow in drinking water. While Australian standards differ, the fundamental chemistry remains the same. Rice grown in contaminated soil absorbs arsenic regardless of which country ultimately sells it. The brand has rebranded, changed the packaging, updated the marketing from Uncle Ben's to Ben's Original. But has the rice itself changed? Have they implemented comprehensive heavy metal testing? Have they switched to suppliers with cleaner soil? The silence on these questions is deafening. No press releases about new safety protocols, no announcements about enhanced testing, just a new name on the same product. For seniors whose kidneys are already working overtime, adding arsenic exposure is playing with fire. For those on heart medications, the cardiovascular strain from chronic heavy metal exposure compounds existing risks. The body can only handle so much toxic burden before something gives way. The rice looks normal, cooks normally, tastes like it always has. The betrayal is invisible, and that invisibility is precisely what makes it so dangerous. You cannot protect yourself from what you cannot see. What is the worst rice brand you have ever tried? Drop it in the comments below. Coming in at number 3, we have Sunlong jasmine rice. Jasmine rice has become increasingly popular in Australian households. The fragrant aroma, the slightly sticky texture, the way it complements Asian cuisine. Sunlong jasmine rice sits on supermarket shelves promising authentic Thai flavor at affordable prices. For seniors exploring new cuisines or cooking for grandchildren who love stir-fry, it seems perfect. But affordable sourcing comes with hidden costs. Thailand and other Southeast Asian rice-growing regions face varying levels of agricultural contamination. Industrial pollution, mining runoff, and decades of intensive farming have affected soil quality in some areas. Rice absorbs these contaminants with remarkable efficiency, concentrating heavy metals in the grain far more than most other crops. Testing of jasmine rice brands has revealed concerning variability. Some products test relatively clean. Others show elevated levels of arsenic, cadmium, and lead. Without comprehensive batch testing and transparent reporting, consumers play a lottery with every purchase. Cadmium is particularly concerning for seniors. It accumulates in the kidneys over a lifetime of exposure. For those already managing reduced kidney function, even small additional exposures can accelerate decline. The damage is cumulative and largely irreversible. Your kidneys do not recover from cadmium damage. They simply continue deteriorating. A study published in the International Journal of Environmental Research found that regular rice consumers in some Asian countries had kidney cadmium levels up to 3 times higher than those who ate rice less frequently. For Australian seniors adopting jasmine rice as a dietary staple, this research carries serious implications for long-term health. When you open a bag of Sunlong jasmine rice, that distinctive floral aroma fills the kitchen. The grains look pearlescent and perfect. They cook up slightly sticky, exactly as jasmine rice should. Every sensory signal says this food is safe and wholesome. But your senses cannot detect heavy metals. They cannot measure arsenic in parts per billion. They cannot warn you about cadmium accumulation. The betrayal happens at a molecular level, invisible and silent. For seniors who have embraced jasmine rice as a healthier alternative or a way to enjoy more varied cuisine, this news stings. You were trying to eat well. You were exploring new flavors. And potentially, you were exposing yourself to contamination with every fragrant serving. The packaging shows beautiful images of Thai rice paddies, serene farmers in traditional settings, nothing about heavy metal testing protocols or contamination monitoring. The marketing sells a dream. The reality may be quite different. You will not believe what the next one hides. Keep watching. At number 2, we have Sunwhite calrose rice. Sunwhite is another major player in the Australian rice market. Their calrose medium grain rice is marketed for sushi, risotto, and everyday cooking. The versatility appeals to home cooks. The Australian grown claim provides comfort, Surely local rice is safer than imported alternatives? Not necessarily. While Australian rice is generally grown under strict agricultural standards, the fundamental problem remains. Rice accumulates arsenic from soil and water more efficiently than almost any other grain crop. Even rice grown in relatively clean conditions can contain measurable contamination levels. The chemistry of rice cultivation makes arsenic absorption almost unavoidable. Research published in the journal Science of the Total Environment found that cooking method significantly affects arsenic levels in prepared rice. The traditional method of cooking rice in just enough water to be absorbed actually concentrates arsenic in the final product. But how many Australians know this? How many seniors have been told to rinse their rice thoroughly or cook it in excess water that gets drained away? The betrayal here is not necessarily in the rice itself, but in the lack of consumer education. Major brands sell their products without any guidance on minimizing contamination risks. They do not mention arsenic on the packaging. They do not suggest safer cooking methods. They simply take your money and let you assume everything is fine. For seniors cooking rice the same way they have for 50 years, this silence is damaging. Traditional methods passed down through generations may actually be maximizing the contamination they consume, and no one in the industry bothers to tell them otherwise. They could include a simple cooking tip on the package. They choose not to. The Sunwhite packaging shows appetizing images. Sushi rolls, creamy risotto, steaming bowls of rice. What it does not show is the invisible arsenic that might be present in every grain. What it does not mention is that proper preparation techniques could reduce your exposure significantly. The information exists. They just choose not to share it. For seniors managing diabetes, the stakes are particularly high. Research has linked chronic arsenic exposure to increased insulin resistance and impaired glucose metabolism. If you are already fighting to control your blood sugar, contaminated rice may be working against you with every meal. Your medication fights the disease while your food potentially worsens it. The Australian-grown label provides false reassurance. It tells you where the rice was grown. It tells you nothing about what the rice contains or how to prepare it safely. Ever noticed how these brands keep selling but never address contamination concerns? Tell us what you think. And now, the rice brand you should avoid most of all. Coming in at number 1, we have Aldi Romano long grain rice. Aldi has revolutionized Australian grocery shopping. Their no-frills approach delivers significant savings. For seniors on pensions, for anyone watching their budget, Aldi offers relief from the relentless rise in food costs. The Romano rice brand sits on those stripped-back shelves promising value that cannot be beaten. But at what cost to your health? Aldi's business model depends on sourcing products at the absolute lowest price point. Their suppliers must compete ruthlessly on cost. This pressure flows down the supply chain, potentially affecting quality control, sourcing decisions, and contamination testing. When margins are razor-thin, something has to give. Often that something is rigorous safety testing. Budget rice brands globally have shown the highest variability in heavy metal contamination. When price is the primary driver, safety testing becomes an expense that erodes margins. When suppliers compete on cost alone, the farms with the cheapest rice often have the least investment in soil quality and contamination monitoring. Independent testing of discount supermarket rice brands has found some batches with arsenic levels that health advocates consider concerning for regular consumption. For a senior eating rice several times per week, these exposures accumulate rapidly. What seems like a harmless side dish becomes a delivery system for heavy metals. A 2020 analysis by the European Commission found that some rice products exceeded proposed maximum levels for inorganic arsenic. While Australia has different regulatory frameworks, rice contamination is a global problem that transcends borders. The cheapest rice on the market often comes from regions with the least environmental oversight. For seniors managing heart conditions, diabetes, or kidney disease, this budget choice may cost far more than the few dollars saved at checkout. The arsenic builds up over months and years. The kidneys strain under the toxic burden. The cardiovascular system takes hit after hit, and all because the priority was price, not purity. Studies have shown that chronic low-level arsenic exposure increases the risk of cardiovascular disease by up to 30% in some populations. For seniors already managing high blood pressure or heart conditions, this additional risk factor could be the difference between stable health and serious complications. The Romano rice looks identical to more expensive brands. It cooks the same way. It tastes acceptable. Nothing visible distinguishes safe rice from potentially contaminated rice. You are trusting that Aldi and their suppliers have prioritized your health, but their entire business model is built on cost reduction. Where does your safety fit into that equation? The packaging offers no answers, no contamination testing results, no sourcing transparency, no assurance that the rice you are about to eat has been checked for heavy metals. You simply have to trust them. And given what we know about budget sourcing practices, that trust may be seriously misplaced. Why do you think budget brands keep having contamination issues globally, yet their products remain on every shelf without anyone asking questions? Safe pick. Number 1. Lotus Foods. Rice. Lotus Foods specializes in heirloom and specialty rice varieties sourced from small-scale farmers around the world who use traditional, low-contamination growing methods. Their rice is tested for heavy metals. Their sourcing is transparent. Their commitment to quality is evident in every product they sell. What makes Lotus Foods particularly appealing for Australian seniors is their variety. White rice is not the only option. They offer brown rice, red rice, black rice, and specialty varieties that provide different nutritional profiles and flavors. For seniors looking to diversify their diet while maintaining safety, Lotus Foods opens up possibilities that contaminated mainstream brands cannot match. The company works directly with farmers to ensure sustainable practices and safe growing conditions. They avoid regions with known soil contamination. They test their products and stand behind the results. In an industry plagued by silence and opacity, Lotus Foods operates with refreshing honesty. Their commitment to transparency extends to their packaging and website. They discuss their testing protocols. They explain their sourcing decisions. They treat their customers as partners who deserve information, not just consumers to be marketed to. Yes, it costs more than Aldi's budget rice. But when your kidney function is at stake, when your heart health matters, when you want to actually know what you are eating, that premium buys peace of mind. The difference between cheap contaminated rice and safe-tested rice might be a few dollars per kilogram, but the difference in health outcomes could be immeasurable. Look for Lotus Foods at health food stores and specialty grocers across Australia. Your health is worth the trip beyond the major supermarkets. Safe pick number 2. Lundberg Family Farms Rice. Lundberg has built their entire brand around safety and transparency. They grow their rice in California, where soil contamination from arsenic is significantly lower than in many other growing regions globally. They test their products for heavy metals and publish the results. They use sustainable farming practices that minimize contamination risk. For seniors who need rice they can actually trust, Lundberg represents what the industry should be. Independent testing by Consumer Reports and other organizations has consistently found that Lundberg rice contains some of the lowest arsenic levels of any major brand. California-grown rice, in general, tests cleaner than rice from regions with legacy contamination from historical pesticide use. The texture is excellent. The flavor is clean and neutral. The grains cook up fluffy and separate. Everything you want from rice, without the invisible contamination you do not want. For seniors managing heart conditions, diabetes, or kidney disease, Lundberg offers peace of mind along with quality. Their family-owned operation has been growing rice responsibly for over 80 years. They understand that shortcuts in safety eventually catch up with you. Their reputation depends on consistently delivering clean, safe rice. That accountability matters when your health is on the line. The company offers multiple varieties to suit different cooking needs. White rice, brown rice, basmati, jasmine, and specialty blends. Whatever your preference, Lundberg provides an option that has been tested and verified. No lottery, no guessing, just rice you can trust. Look for Lundberg products in health food stores and specialty grocers across Australia. The investment in your health is worth every extra dollar. When you consider what is at stake, a few dollars more per bag seems like the wisest money you could spend. Your pantry staples should not come with hidden dangers. Now you know which brands to avoid and which ones deserve your trust. Subscribe now and tap your remote so you never get blindsided again.